This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.
Welcome back to the Time Is Now podcast, hosted by your team at IRG. I am your host, Justin Villa. And with me, of course, I have members of the IRG team. I have Ana Maria to my left, and I have Isabel at the end of the sofa. We're going to talk about a different topic, guys. Normally, we talk about projects and what's happening in Miami, but I think this is an important topic that, especially for our clientele, the international investor or investor in general, I think it's a very important topic. We have Cristina Ortiz, who is an attorney and a real estate professional, and we just want to get your feedback and your opinion on how we can help our clients, especially investors, manage the Miami market and when it comes to buying and selling and the different things. We had a different topic the other day when we spoke about the FERPTA and things like that, but we want to specifically focus on 1031 exchange. I know that that's a specific thing and a lot of people aren't well knowledged on this topic. And I think it's important for not only us as realtors, but as for our listeners who are investors, for them to know as well.
Well, the 1031 exchange, what's good about that as real estate professionals, as real estate agents, is you don't have to be an expert in it. Of course, it helps, but just knowing about it and educating your investor clients on it would be very beneficial. The 1031 exchange doesn't apply to owners of their home, like their primary residence. This is an investment or investor instrument. And basically, it's a way to defer, not avoid, defer your capital gains tax. Because when you sell a property that is not your homestead property, where you have homestead exemption, which means it's your primary residence, when you sell it, you will have to pay a tax, just like everything, on your gain or on your profit. Now, how do you defer that? Well, the 1031 exchange process basically allows you to get your proceeds or your profit from selling one investment property, and then you get to reinvest those funds, the profit, into another investment property. So you have to do it within a certain amount of time, okay? But just knowing that this exists for your clients, for your investors, is a game changer for them. They probably already know about it. They're going to ask you about it. But what I would do is always know about the professionals involved, because we are not able to do a 1031 exchange. You cannot be the title company. You cannot be the real estate agent, their accountant. It's what's called a qualified intermediary. A qualified intermediary is a third party. They are in charge of doing the paperwork for the 1031 exchange that is going to be reviewed by the IRS at some point. And they're in charge of being, holding the funds. They're the ones who receive the proceeds from your sale. They hold it and then apply it to when you close on the purchase. Okay. And it has to be, always set up your 1031 exchange before you close on the sale. Because once the title agent, the seller, if those funds hit one of those accounts, that's it. The 1031 is a no-go. It has to go to what's called a 1031 QI qualified intermediary.
Is there a monetary value of that? Like, is there a limit on that, or is it just basically the gain that they receive on any property?
So that's a very accounting specific question. So basically the capital gains tax in general is usually around 15 or 20%. Okay. And I know that there are value limits. I'm not very well versed on them, but there are value limits on it. What I would say is that try to make it easier or mainstream, to streamline it, is the entire profit you should apply to the new purchase. I do have clients that often maybe there's partners. So one realizes the gain, the other one defers it. So you can split it up as well. And then that's part of the QI or qualified intermediary's job to put that forth in the paperwork. Now, what is important for us to know is that the investor doesn't have forever to decide what property to reinvest in. Once we sell, let's just say today's the closing date. Let's just say today's October 7th. I have 180 days to close on my new property. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And it's strict. There's no extension. That's why a lot of times it doesn't apply to new construction, because sometimes people say, well, I'm selling one investment property. Can I go buy one of these pre-construction luxury condos? And I mean, technically you could if you were closing in a month or within the 180 days, but that's not going to happen. And remember, new construction is always delayed. So that's not recommended. So the 180 rule is strict. Now, within those 180 days, you only have 45 days from closing on your sale to identify the potential properties.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So if we close today, within 45 days, you and your qualified intermediary in writing need to say, okay, these are my 3 properties, my 5 properties that I'm interested in. Address specific. You can't just say a region like, oh, Brickell. It has to be, specific addresses.
And I have a question. How would you suggest we recommend a QI for our clients, or how do they find one?
Okay. There's QI companies that just specialize in this. You should select a QI company that has a reputable history. They've been doing this for a long time. I have a title company, and I have a title, my title company has a division that has nothing to do with my law firm, has nothing to do with my title company, but it's under the same name. And they're a QI. So what I do for my clients is that instead of the money coming to me when I'm the title agent, it goes over to the QI. Okay. And the IRS actually does not license QIs. The IRS doesn't approve QIs. It's just a company that is well versed in the law. Okay. Usually have some accounting experience and who have been doing it for a long time. That's who you should recommend.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's a lot of information. And I think, like you said, we don't necessarily need to be 100% well-versed in the topic, but I think it's important for us as realtors and for the people who are listening, just to understand the top, like the basic information, right? So one, you don't have all day. You have a certain amount of time and limit.
Also, the value has to be comparable, correct?
Yes. And it has to be the same use. So they call it if you're selling a warehouse, it should be another investment property, probably a warehouse. It doesn't have to be, but they called it a like kind property. Same use, usually same value, same size. There's exceptions, but your QI can definitely guide you through that process.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's important to get at least those basic, that basic information, right? You don't have all day, like you said, Isabella. It has to be something similar in the range of what you are getting rid of. And I had a question for you, because when you were talking about the fact that you have, let's say you provide a list of 5 properties, 3 properties, or whatever the case may be, what if something falls through, or I mean, let's say you do the inspection and there's something wrong with the property?
Get into another contract right away so that you close by 180. That 180 is very strict. The IRS and like, oh, you had that property fell through. You have to, it's very strict, very specific. There's no extensions. I had a client like that sold one property. The QI was holding her funds. She got into contract to purchase another investment property that fell through, and we had to speed up the second closing because we had to be within those 180 days. I would say that for real estate agents, what you should know is, number one, that this exists for your investors. And number 2, I have so many real estate agents who call me after a sale has already closed saying, okay, can you help us with the 1031 exchange? And we had to set up the 1031 exchange before the sale's closing.
Okay.
Before the sale closes is when you set up that 1031 exchange. It cannot be after.
That's important.
That's
very,
important.
Yeah, because I mean, I think like we just had a lunch and learn with you, and I think it's important that, like you said, there's a lot of realtors out there. Some that do good jobs, some that take a step back. But it's important to just know this topic, right? It's not something that us realtors are going to know 100% off the top of our head. And like you said, sometimes it's important to even contact someone specific in that industry, in that field. But just something like this, where you're hearing it on a podcast, or you have it mentioned from a realtor, could definitely save you time, because, like you said, these 180 days, you got to move. And we've had closings. All the realtors on this couch have definitely had closings where things haven't gone necessarily smooth through the entire process. So, I mean, obviously we know that there's delays and things like that. And that's where I think that 180 days is a reasonable amount of time, right? Especially since most of these would you say that most of these transactions happen directly with cash? Like, do sometimes people put another like loan in it, or is it just strictly from the money that they receive 100% in cash?
The 1031s that I have done have been the cash to cash, cash to a cash purchase. Yes. And this isn't just restricted to commercial properties like a warehouse, or it applies to residences as well, as long as it's an investment property. Okay. So before you close on your sale, just know that those proceeds need to go with a qualified intermediary to then be applied to your next closing. And then those funds are sent by the QI to the title company who's handling your purchase. So it could be residential or commercial, but as long as it's investment.
Okay. So it could be a multifamily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's a similar property, like kind.
Got it. Got it. And is there a restriction in the area, like demographic wise, like location? It could be.
No, I've done 1031s from Alabama here, and other states.
Okay. So it's not strictly just a Florida thing. It's basically anywhere. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's super important. So definitely, I mean, I think this is a lot of information and it's information that we'll get into it. If you need more details and stuff like that, you definitely can reach out to us on all our social media, on our platforms, wherever you think we are. We probably are. But thank you so much, Cristina. Thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, because definitely we love to chat with you here at the office, and you definitely know a lot and can give all the realtors here and our listeners a bit of insight on what they should do and how they should proceed in these processes.
Anytime.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much, guys, from the IRG team. And remember, the time is now.
This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.